So we want to do also some track line adjustments. Then we turn to the last page on the packet, and you see the proposed new track lines with this property line adjustment. We're still keeping 3 tracks. One's approximately 20 acres, the other one's approximately 34 acres, and then one's approximately 22 acres. 2 of which have direct access along Farrar Lane, and then the other tract 3 that's 24 acres will be accessed via an existing access easement that is currently used to access the existing tract that's 31 acres there. It actually helps the layout a little bit, from like a staff opinion anyways, because there's currently an existing tract that's 10 acres at the bottom of the existing 31 acre parcel that's accessed via the easement that you have to drive through that parcel to get to the bottom 10 acre tract. So this way, all 3 parcels will at least actually have some sort of direct access to Farrar.
Okay. Now there's still an easement on for tract 3. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, so the existing easement that is there, that's a previously years old easement. That is what is being used to access tract 3. And it is from the end of Farrar Lane on the adjacent 2 properties over and then into that tract 3 piece.
So the right-of-way dedication along those frontages of Farrar needs to be noted on the plat, right?
Yes, that was the only thing I think that I had from a staff standpoint was just verifying that the dedication is there. Utilize this, yeah. So here's the existing 37 acres, bottom 10 acres that doesn't actually have access, and then here's the 31 acres. You know, this is what we're referring to as tract 3. It has an existing easement that runs over Farrar Lane through here. The easement actually looks like it follows this roadbed, but it's an existing access for that property, and that's how it's currently accessed. This portion of this property, you know, is being proposed to shrink by approximately 10 acres. That's close to 10 acres.
Yeah.
You know, this piece that's 10 acres, you know, is going to essentially be incorporated with a piece right here. Mm-hmm. So the 20 acres here, 24 including part of this, and then this new 24 acre tract. Or sorry, 30. This was 34, yes. And this was 24.
Okay. Is a representative here, Castor and Associates, or just was just see that anything else they want to ask? I mean, or state planning commissioners, I mean, this is Kennedy, this was coming, correct? Yeah. What's your comments on it, or any comments?
Yeah. I think it makes some better access.
100% on that, I agree. Okay, so David, you follow up on the making sure the right of way is, I don't see it on this plat,
Yeah, this, to be honest with you, I think it was shown, but I wanted to just verify and clarify that everyone was on the same page, just wasn't dedication of that right away.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that was the only actual, we're playing a comment that we were really worried about.
Okay. All right, so this will be on the agenda for the first Monday of March.
Yes, sir.
Everybody good?
Good.
Let's move on. All right, so SD 2026-02 is another, there's a lot split on this one. Mr. Vitt, property is located at 8389 West Brown Road, parcel 05.0045 140. So, hang on here. Clarify something. I know the agenda says one thing, but the application says is the 839 Brown Road, West Brown Road, right? One, is that the Randalls that own the property? Or is that
Yes,
Vitt's?
the existing current owner is Lily Randall.
Okay, so that's who's doing the application.
Yes.
Who's Mr. Vitt?
Lily Randall's is the owner, Mr. Vitt's potential purchaser.
Okay. So we've got one parcel that's approximately 5 acres, yes?
Yes.
That's currently zoned A1,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to split it into 2 similarly sized lots or parcels.
So three parcels total, sorry, the way that's worded is, 2 lots of similar size at 1.39 acres,
Okay,
and 1 at 2.2 acres.
okay, that's what I wanted to clarify, is how we're looking at this.
3 parcels total.
And track 1 is the one that has the existing mobile home on it, right?
Track.
I believe that is correct, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
So we want to split the lot into 3 parcels. One currently has a mobile home on it, will become the parent, or track 1 of this. And track 2, track 3, basically the same size. Okay. Okay, so talk us through this, David.
So, this is an existing piece of property that has been a 5-acre tract of land for who knows how many years, used for numerous things. Obviously the subdivision went into the west of it. It's got Brown Road frontage in front of it. There is a current single-family home on it. There's also, I believe, an unoccupied older, called a single-family home, that might be used for storage now, something along those lines, but I don't believe it's occupied. But there's, a couple of different structures on it. Proposed to split property in 3 parcels. There were 2 at 1.39 acres. They're wanting that to be rezoned to R1, and 1 at 2.2 acres to be rezoned to H2. Some of the concerns that we've had with this is my understanding that at one point in time this was used as a dump. So utilities and things like that, I don't believe there would be anything able to perk there, but my understanding is that the applicants are looking at getting sewer taken to it. The current future land use map calls us out for residential medium density. This is, a single family density, it allows for, denser single family zoning than, this, but obviously this isn't going to negatively affect, any other single family zones around it. I think the biggest concern really at this point is that the way this property sits and split into 3 parcels, per the Cave Springs code, it's not appropriate as a lot split. It really, with the addition of the necessary water and sewer improvements, it really needs to probably be done as a preliminary plat. And it needs to have, the sewer engineered and the water extended, sewer extended, and those type of things. The last page, you can see where the adjacent subdivision, ends. And you can see where the street improvements stop, almost on this property. The sidewalk stops adjacent to it, the curb and gutter stop adjacent to it. Again, as far as just splitting it and creating parcels, I don't see that as an issue. I don't think it's going to negatively impact anybody. With the addition of needing the sewer and these types of things, not being an engineer and not having any, not having for sure understanding of what is there on our sewer system, it's going to need to be looked at by our engineers. How can it be hooked up to? Is there going to need to be 3 individual tanks there? Are they supposed to go to 1 tank with pumps? There is a lot of questions from that standpoint.
Where's Hickory Hills going? What is their system remind me?
This one?
Yeah.
I was pretty certain that it is the old step, well, it's step, but I'm pretty sure each individual home has an individual home.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, because there is no centralized
Okay, that's what I was.
lot there that any of this is driving to. So I'm pretty sure that everything is being pushed out to a force main out here.
Okay.
So that's the biggest concern, is the availability of sewer.
So the comments here, just remind me that this parcel that we're talking about was used as a city dump, local dump. What's the history there? What's about that comment? Or just things have been dumped there by the previous owners.
My understanding is it was a local dump. This was
A
from,
dumping ground.
well, I'm not sure the extent of how it was used, but I've been told that by Ms. Rangles and other people in the past that, at one point in time, that was where a lot of the trash was hauled off to and disposed of. I don't know if that was in the city limits of Cave Springs at that point in time. I don't know if it was the city's dump. I'm not, the full history of it, I'm not certain.
No, I'm just curious, just better understanding.
How similar do you see this?
Say that.
The property is along Rainbow Road.
Yes.
That very similar situation where we obviously as a city would want to have curb and gutter, all the things. How similar is this to that precedent wise?
I mean, precedent was similar, that was under the old code. This is under the new subdivision code. As far as, what constitutes tracks for a minor subdivision. Those also didn't have any adjacent curb, gutter, or sidewalks directly.
Allen's Mill was right next to it.
Allen's Mill, does not have exterior sidewalks.
No, they had to face into the street.
Yeah.
There were grading issues. sewer is something that we can use to push work to be, but is that, I'm just.
Well, my understanding is that Madison had spoken with the applicants originally, and they were made aware of these situations in kind of the original back and forth, and they wanted to at least proceed, kind of talking, discussing this.
Is the applicant here?
I'm Gus. So I emailed and been in touch with Will Smith, Public Works, and he sent me a quote to extend the sewer there where you guys are discussing where it stops at the northwest corner of the parcel, somewhere in there. And I discussed it with him before we moved on, talking to Miss Lily, and he sent me a quote for contractor fees and materials to extend it down to those. And then speaking with Madison, she mentioned like the potential curb and gutter stuff. I understand whenever, growing areas in Marion, all that with the curb and gutter that's on Brown Road right there at that corner. On our end, it's not going to be directly left or right of us, but if that's a deal breaker, then, we would look at doing that for our 2 lots. So the main reason for wanting to move here is we've grown up in this area our whole life, and then actually Levi back here is one buying track 2, hopefully with y'all's approval. So track 2, that is closest to Miss Lily, and then track 3, me and my wife and our family are purchasing, and his family is actually Rod and Stephanie Easily that live right across the road right there. So that's another just fun and cool reason for us to move there. But if the curb and gutter and stuff like that is an issue, like I said, we'd love to look at that just to, if that helps us getting this approved. But I did want to just make it aware that I have an email here from Will just stating that they could extend that sewer down to us. Because it won't perk for a septic system, but
So
that's why I reached out to Will to verify. Because if Will said, "Hey, can't get sewer there," then we would have moved on. Because I know that it's not going to perk. So.
Okay, you answered that question, because I wanted to confirm, like, has it been looked at, or anybody know that for sure that it won't?
It won't. There's no.
What is Brown, refresh me, Brown Road is classified as what?
I think it's collector.
So with the collector, it's the street improvement, because here's where I'm going. Brown Road it was a dirt road. It's now been paved, and it's becoming busy, and it's specified as a collector. I think the collective desire of the community is when there's the opportunity to get the road to allow it to be what it's been designated as. There's a time to do that. If you have too much water on the bridge, you can't get it done, right? So here's an opportunity. I know you've got a larger lot that's there. So it's not a subdivision, it is that hard trigger. But how do we work together on some of this where it's as good stewards of the entire community for the, as the growth continues, that we don't create the bottlenecks along there like we have.
Yeah.
Just talking curb and gutter, following what the street code is, helps look into the future with that. I don't know if anybody see that. And so it's how do we work together on that? Code may not be very specific on that, but the sewer's not there, we want the sewer to extend, but how does that happen? And here's an opportunity and a trigger to get us both where we want to get to, right?
Mhm.
For the community, for the whole community as a whole.
Sure.
So, in my opinion, I think we gotta keep that on the table, that curb and gutter
Yeah.
has to stay there as a conversation.
Okay.
I agree, but when, is Miss Lily the one that's keeping the first lot right next to the subdivision here?
Yes, ma'am. She lives there currently, and she's older and she's not getting around very well. So I told her, and we discussed numerous times, and she's okay with me kind of speaking on her behalf, to that surface level. But yes, ma'am, she is staying there in her home.
Would we be
Yes.
open to the curb and gutter extending across that property? I heard you say that your property and the next one, we're open to it, but what about that section?
Are you buying the whole thing or just the two lots?
Just the two.
No, I'm buying track 3. He's buying track 2, and then Miss Lily's keeping that.
Track one.
Is so kind of what I was thinking. And again, this is the first time I've ever done this. I've told her a million times. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So in my mind, like for, the whole working together, if what I was saying is like for my lot, track 3, if I need to put sidewalk up there, along the road, even though it's not meeting on either side, but for future, like you were saying, then that's something that we'd be willing to do. And then same for Levi. Now, as far as like Miss Lily's track, I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Because she's retaining that.
Is she currently on? Yeah, it's the gap thing. Yeah. How, is she on a septic system right now?
I think she is.
Or it might be a pseudo septic system?
Yeah, but she's also lived there for a long time, so that may have been way back before it was a true health department septic system. I don't know. I can't speak on that.
Right.
Those, yeah.
But I do not think that she's connected to that sewer right there. She's on a septic.
And is she on a well? Or is she on
That I don't know.
Is water available?
Yeah, water is available.
Water is available, yeah, I'm not 100% certain. I would assume she is on some sort of city water.
I believe she is. I don't, yeah, I mean, we ran into this before where
I wonder, does the survey, let me pull up, they might have found that and put it on that side. We'll talk to them.
see, the survey doesn't show a septic field, doesn't identify it. A lot of times the survey will show where the septic field is at. But, yeah, it might not be, that's true.
A lot of times we would ask for that, especially the split when we know something on septic, but I was unaware that would be retained. I thought that track was being redeveloped also, so I did not think to ask that. Also, considering that septic or sewer is potentially being ran through those properties,
Well, if it just
my feelings were that they would be able to tie to sewer at some point. So whether or not the septic field, the septic field location is not as necessary.
Because I was seeing a C2 and I was like, what is this? So it's got, I was confused because I thought it said OC, but maybe it says overhead electric going from the back of the parcel.
Yes, that's the overhead electric.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see where it says utility pole electric meter is at the back corner of
Oh, yeah, running
Existing
to the
home.
house, yeah.
and that's the overhead lines running to it.
there be a fee in lieu opportunity for, lots 2 and 3 for the sidewalk and right-of-way improvements while maintaining dedication of the right-of-way on this?
I can look into it. I think we talked about putting that in there. I don't think we ever set an actual
Yeah.
precedent for it. We haven't set a precedent for it, we haven't done it yet.
Right.
You
I
know,
don't think we have that for subdivision, but we were going to change it. I don't
we
know.
had discussed it. I'll have to double check.
I'm just thinking if we're gonna create essentially like a little island of sidewalk,
No.
I don't want to figure out the cost of that, plus also the wear and tear on that before it's connected to something to be used and useful for the residents of the city. And if we're gonna have that lot 1 retained, but potentially developed by someone in the near future, maybe not near, but in the future, then maybe there's a fee and lieu opportunity to help us be better prepared.
Well, I think that's where, from the staff standpoint, I actually have a preliminary plat, was probably the better way to pursue this. You know, you mentioned the Rainbow Road project had sewer available, you know, on site and water essentially on site. You know, this one, you know, there's definitely not sewer level. And I understand, you know, our public works department is giving a quote and things like that, but
You said it does have water available on site already?
well, they across the street, but
I think
Oh, they
it's assumption.
Okay,
Yeah.
Is that, see it on? Is it on GIS,
The parents don't see one.
no.
the water lines?
So his parents, the Easley track, which is
Across the road.
across the road, they're on city water, which is to the right of that arrow.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're on city water. That's his parents. They're on city water.
So, sorry, when I say on site, it's available, it's either across the street making board,
Yes.
or new service lines over here. But water is there, I mean, all of these homes, you know, are on city water. And so,
Yeah, getting it there is not,
That was not
yeah, water was not, you know, the big concern, obviously.
sewer is.
But-
sewer, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'd definitely be looking for the right of way.
Well, I would like to look
And
into,
explore the feeling for sidewalk improvements and street improvements.
we'll look into that.
Yeah, the lot split makes sense.
Yes,
I don't think there's any contention on that.
Yeah.
The rezone. That's the next thing, but it's the same thing we're talking about. The rezone is not wrong.
no,
So it's how we handle the sewer side of stuff.
yeah, I will touch base with Will. And see if he has discussed this with, Andrew Stevens, who is our actual water sewer engineer. And so I'm just not 100% certain when they said they'll extend it, like, I don't know what y'all's conversation was like, you know, was it like, hey, you're gonna have stack tanks and here's the, you know, specs for those as far as what each individual tank has to have, or, you know, backflow preventers, things like that. Again, those are things that would usually be hashed out in the other application process.
I see where you're coming from in terms of the subdivision side of it, treating it like a minor, even though it's only 3.
Yeah.
You found the loophole, or not the loophole, the gray area.
That wasn't intentional. I remember speaking with her, and she told me about, you know, where it goes to the subdivision and whatnot.
Right.
And I totally understand all of those reasons and whatnot. And like I said, if we get sewer there, water hypothetically is for sure there, you know, with the exception of a bore. So if we can get sewer there, then like I said, speaking on my behalf, I'm sure I'm speaking for him as well. If we have to spend a little money to do some sidewalk on our side, for even though right now it sticks out, we just we'd really like to live there. He'd like to live across from his parents. And I have little kids, so that's another free babysitter. So,
Planning.
but yeah.
So action items on this. I think from the planning commission side, I'm not speaking for everybody, tell me if you see differently. No one just really disagrees with the lot split. No one really sees that disagrees with the zoning, right? It's just how do we handle the mechanics of the sewer, right? And the second, it's street improvements, which includes curb, gutter, sidewalk, that type of thing. So, David, you're gonna check with Will.
I'm gonna check on the city water, I'll find out what side of the road it's on. I think it's clearly there. I think it's on the north side, but then we'll look at the, and I'm gonna get with Drew and Will and,
From the sewer, the lift station, by the like pumps or whatever it was.
see what all, was talked about on that, because I'm not 100% sure.
And I looked back at the email just a second ago. Will and I spoke on the phone. I told him the gist of what we want to do. So like his email didn't specify any of the tanks and whatnot, but our phone call, which this was also months ago, I just told him, hey, I want to put 2 single-family houses on this end of the 5 acres. Can you quote me getting sewer? And so that number was essentially, I don't know if he spoke with your engineer or whatever. I would assume that he did, but if he didn't, he just gave me a quote to extend it from there to down here so that we could have sewer, no septic. Now, that goes, you see what I'm saying? That goes back, I don't know if he discussed with the engineer, but so I have the quote for getting sewer there.
We had talked about it because I know there was some discussion with them on what we had that things in here. How much they could run without having something engineered, things like that. There are some limitations to, like if it's a repair and replace or relocate an existing line, they can do it without any sort of approval, self-part, things like that. This is sanitary sewer, and I mean, my understanding, my belief would be that like this would have to be engineered and go to the state health department for approval.
But there's the next component of that is that things go further down the line, right? What happens? How is you got to anticipate something? And how that
that's a very good point. So again, this was preliminary plat, and we reviewed this through engineering. They'd be like, well, what is that size of that sewer line there? We need to at least make sure we're not necking it down. We want it to be the same size at least as there. That way, if there's something on the other side, they can be extended in the future. Those kind of things.
All right, so there's the action item. We got to get that done. This is anticipated for the first week of March, or not. Where are we at? What do we anticipate? What's our target? So, because the action item is going to happen first before we can go to a hearing. With some understanding of what can happen, right, from all parties. In 2 weeks, would it be ready or not ready? I just want to set it.
No, I
don't
understand.
I don't want
I
him working on it.
doubt we'll have all these answers in 2 weeks.
We set the public hearing now.
Yeah, for the reason.
So
that's what I was
It's
saying.
already gone out though.
Yes,
If mailers has already gone out,
Then it's on the
it's
agenda.
already been on the newspaper.
Yeah.
it's in our-
But the rezoning can move forward. We have the legal restrictions and things like
True.
that.
That's true.
And so that's what I was going to say is, I believe that there's going to be a lot of questions with the actual split side of it. And
They can be contingent upon the lot split.
they can be.
You can have the public hearing, hear what the rezone is, and get the public feedback on that. You've got legal descriptions, and then those can be made contingent upon a successful lot split, which would happen.
we could also table it for the next.
It could be tabled and done together.
Well, it can still,
There's a few different ways it could be done, so we'll have a public hearing. Have to have a public hearing.
If we don't have all of these things squared away, there's
I mean, the splitting of the lot is simple.
So it sounds like the sewer is the only issue. So lot split and the rezone, everybody's good with. Now, I may have jumped the gun and it's totally fine. So like we closed to purchase the 2 lots separately. And I set that for March 6th, which was after the March 2nd. But if the only thing is,
If we approve it, that first meeting in March, it still has to be.
Lot split's done here.
Right, but.
Rezone wouldn't happen until the city council, because that becomes law, becomes ordinance. And all we do on.
which is March 2nd,
No, it's the
Last
end
week
of
in
the month.
March.
the city council approves city council approves the rezoning is contingent upon.
If you're taking a loan out on this, then they're gonna want to see how is that parcel zoned?
Yeah, the lot split isn't gonna allow for those sizes if it stays in its current zoning.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can do the lot split without
I think it
zoning.
needs to go together.
Yeah.
And then it would be recommended on the council and it would be at the earliest end of March.
okay.
Sounds like the closing date might be sooner than, I just wouldn't want you to close on something that you don't have a final answer on.
You probably need to, yeah.
The next planning commission meeting is April 6th. The, city council meeting will be March 24th. My recommendation would be to try and move closing to after the 6th, in case.
Of
Something gets.
April,
Yes, April. Yeah, sorry. April. That would be, the 6th of April would be the next time y'all would meet. After the March meeting forward, right? A decision-making meeting.
yeah, you'll have to check with your lender, because they're gonna wanna see what that parcel is, and what they're setting the loan up for. And right now, it doesn't exist.
Okay. Okay. So what do I need to do?
So,
moving forward?
let me just talking the mechanics of that. So, with this part, the parcel ID hasn't been assigned, because it's not like a lot adjustment where they're already there. You can still run off of that with a new legal description, that's pretty straightforward. The county's got to assign.
I believe you can still be closing without partial ID. They would have to have the
legal
proof
description.
with the legal description, yes. So that'll be the thing. I mean, there will be legal descriptions with the rezoning, they'll provide those to us.
Because that affects your title search.
Yes, but having the legal description, on the approved plat, I believe is all that would be needed. I don't think they actually have to have a partial ID.
Okay.
For the closings. They just have to have a legal description.
Maybe things to confirm,
Yeah, I think
just to make sure.
Just ask her then what they want.
ask.
Okay.
I think that's the first conversation tomorrow with them is what do they need?
Right, but then also it segues into that. It's our contract is also contingent on city approval, of course.
Right.
So like, if we can't build, not that you guys don't want us to live there, but if for sewer reasons, if we can't build a house there, then
Right.
we're not gonna
That's
buy.
right.
Right.
So
That's fairly common too. I mean, lots of people will do.
yeah. So it's contingent right now on city approval, only because, again, due to my ignorance, I've only done this is my first time. I thought it was this meeting for a lot split, and then the zoning was March 2nd, and then if it, like, lot split was approved tonight, March 2nd, is my miscommunication. So I thought March 2nd, I would either know good to go, not good to go. That's why it was March 6th for the closing.
I'm with you.
But,
Yes, the
So-
night work session, we're just
Yeah.
like, this
Yeah.
is trying to
Okay.
spitball through things,
You bet.
make sure we got all of our things in a row, understanding what we're trying to do here. Then the public hearing will occur. That's the first Mondays of the month.
Okay.
So that'll happen in a public forum. So the lot split is just an action of the planning commission, but the rezone is gonna come as a recommendation, and then it goes to the city council. They have to confirm it so that it becomes an ordinance.
Okay.
So that wouldn't occur till they meet for their public hearing. So there'll be 2 public hearings for the lot, or for the rezone, here and at city council.
Okay.
And then if they confirm that, then the rezone takes effect, and the lot split and all that can go together. You still with me?
Yeah. So right now, y'all's homework is the sewer thing, then my homework is deciding if I want to buy it with the risk of it not getting approved or pushing the closing to April 15th.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
And then confirm what your lender may, what they need for legal documents.
Perfect.
If what David suggested is what they need, and after successful rezone, you're good.
Okay. Alrighty. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Good job.
So then we'll go on to the next item of business, which we covered ST 2026-02 and RG 2026-01 for this last one. So
Yeah, the next item on your list is the rezoning, which we're going to talk about. So.
yeah, so we're going to talk to ST 2026-04, which is the another track split.
Yes.
For the Holden or Hayden Revocable Trust, property located at 10192 South Morningstar Road in Cave, with parcel 05 102 67464. So this was another 10-ish acre property. Currently zoned, now it's currently A2 ag, suburban ag, not A1. Wanted to confirm that.
Yes. So when we did the zoning map,
Oh, the group rezone?
yes, when we did the rezoning map, you can look on page 2. And that whole strip, this was the only one that would have actually on that road, fronting Murdoch, on either side of it. You see all these parcels, that are there. This was the only one that actually was over 5 acres that would have met the requirements, I think, for, well, maybe wrong, 3, yes. So essentially everything through there was already, so this one was put already, just, they couldn't follow with the rest of them. But no, it is the residential estate.
Okay, so,
Oh, I'm sorry, I put A2 instead of worrying on existing conditions. That's a little bit confusion on those.
So is it A2 now or RE?
No, it's already, no, that was
Okay.
me confusing the 2 of them whenever I was writing this up.
all right, so tell me about your staff recommendation. Walk me through what your thought process is.
So, you can look at the proposed track split on the last page, where they have 3A and 3B. 3B, kind of encompasses the southern portion of this property, approximately 4 acres. And it goes from Morningstar Road all the way to the back of the property, and then cuts up around kind of the existing barns over there, you can kind of see, you know, in close right here. Yeah, so it's essentially the mountains right there. Our understanding is that this split is to be used to serve the property to the west. Again, we are creating
To the
a new
west.
parcel, sorry, east.
To the east.
I'm sorry, to the east. I believe Madison had discussed with the applicant one point, you know, usually when we do this, you know, we require perk tests and things like that. And this is what was stated to her. That being said, I don't think we have any issues with that. I think if it's, you know, for future development purposes, you know, being able to have an east-west connection, we talked about that to the southwards, you know, with other, you know, potential future developments in those areas. I think that's a smart move. I think it, you know, it's good planning, you know, good move to have future access. There is still the concern that, you know, we'd be creating a parcel. I don't know if this could just be a line adjustment or it could be incorporated into that other parcel, but that other parcel is in Newton County and not Case Springs, so I'm saying no. So, you know, we can't, you know, tie the two together. Now, I think, you know, the expectation is that at some point, all of those parcels are going to be in the city limits of Case Springs to the east. You know, with the other development projects that we know that have come to us in the last year, you know, that with some of the discussion that we had then. And with the extension of the sewer and stuff, you know, to like this area, you know, that was some of the items. So, because you remember right here is where we had the 10 1-acre lots, and they had just cul-de-sac, and we talked about having an actual connection, you know, east and west, because if they had done that, we would lose an east-west connection. So I think we fully expect, and when I say fully expect, you know, there was discussion with like these parcels to be incorporated into Case Springs at some point, once they get the utilities there, correct? You know, there is some same expectation that would be happening here because we're the only ones that's going to be able to provide them utilities. So, from the standpoint of having that, you know, attached to this, I don't think that it's a bad thing. I don't think, you know, we have any issues from the staff standpoint.
Say that one more time, having which?
Our understanding is that this was to be purchased by this group, and that it would potentially be a future
That gives them the opportunity to access.
access.
Okay. Now,
And if we have an applicant here for this, so we'd like to allow it to be.
is the applicant here? No? Maybe we should have started the meeting with who's here, who's not.
Yeah.
And that way, people that are out here.
So from the standpoint of that, I don't think we have any issues with it. I think it's smart. I think it's a good move. There's the other side of the devil's advocate of that. It's like, well, we're creating a lot, we're not requiring any perking, it can't just be sold off anywhere at any time. And then we try to come on. Which I think is maybe not a terrible thing, but it's not also,
But it's two parcels, we're taking 10 acres and making it 6 and 4.
yes.
So it's still an agriculture base, it's zoned A2, which is suburban ag, right?
You know what, I was wrong on that. The future land use showed this as already, we did that. This is actually zoned A2.
Okay.
Yeah, I just realized that I was completely wrong on that. Thanks, I'm sorry.
So-
It is zoned A2. The future land use does have it called out as already. Yeah.
Okay. So if it's A2, it really doesn't matter if you can have.
Well, it doesn't need a rezoning or anything like that.
No, it doesn't need
No.
that, because it conforms, and it doesn't really matter if it perks or anything like that at this point in time, because it's still agriculture based.
Yes, absolutely.
They
So-
do 2 acres, and
And if they
They're
can't
both
sell it,
bigger than
they're
that.
gonna sell it, whoever's buying it, if they're putting in a house.
They have to do.
So.
So, this makes sense.
So what was put in the email from the applicant was that all they're doing right now is purchasing land for future development. They also have the parcel behind, which there are no current plans for. So when they do decide to build it, then we will come back to Cave Springs for preliminary plat approval. The well and septic are part of track 3A, and track 3B is just the land. So that's what they're stating they're going to purchase. If it was all, in the city limits, I would prefer for it to be lot line adjustment.
right,
And to actually fully incorporate it into the parcel to the east. I mean, I think, that would make things very simple. That being said, we said it's, for development, we can approve it, and that may be the plan for a year and a half, and it might get sold to someone with the same family home. Or try to, that,
Well, whoever owns the big chunk of land that needs the access, it would not be in their best interest to sell it with a single family home. So if they're the ones buying it, I feel like they're preparing to combine it with theirs and develop it.
this is a trust, I think this is being executed by the son of the current owner. I would love for it to work out the way they're stating, and I hope that's the way it goes.
All right, any commissioner concerns with this one?
it's cool.
All right, next item of business. SD 2026-03, another lot split. Properties at 2908 Ozark Acres Drive, lot 7, parcel 05-10495-000. I do not want to inadvertently missay the name, but is it E-A-A? Did I say that right? All right, so David, we've got this parcel, lot 7, sitting on about 4 acres. Served by septic. Water's on the north side of our acres road. So they want to split this into 2-acre parcels, basically, right?
Which does not meet the covenants of Ozark Acres.
That was one of my questions.
They're 2.5, is their minimum.
So they would need to get a letter,
Has the POA there indicated they would let a shift from their cutoff? I presume you're the applicant.
Justin Reed with Bates and Associates Surveying, and I'm here with Emily, the property owner, and her representative Andy, Andy lives right behind the 4 acres there, on the Dancing Rabbit property.
Okay.
As far as talks or letters from the POA, I don't think we
This POA thing is like a long task, like it's been changed, keep changing. And pretty much qualified outside with plans like all the owners there, all existing one, how we live in it.
There should be covenants for the
There's-
neighborhood, and we would need to find out if they're still active. And if because it states on here that they require 2.5 acre as a minimum for their subdivision or the development. So we can't go below that.
What I do is like a deed or something, ensure that I almost, that I have 15 acres behind.
Is it part of the subdivision that would be within the covenants
The
or an external property?
The south side.
yeah, on the south, the Dancing Rabbit property is not part of Ozark Acres,
Yeah.
so that was maybe an option we were going to talk about is a property line adjustment
You can't
to.
really combine them though,
You can't.
because you're in a subdivision.
Yeah, the subdivision.
Because
Yeah, so if the subdivision has a boundary which is specified in the covenants, right? Then you can't change that boundary without that covenant being amended. And if the POA is amenable to that, then that's an avenue to change that. So I guess there's a couple of questions on it is, if the covenants are truly active and still on the record, it's still an active covenant, which we're assuming it is at this point, I presume that. If it says that, then they would need to have some letter from the active, whoever however the POA is established, the covenants are established for making amendments or allowances for that to say this is acceptable.
Either way, whether it's underneath the 2.5 acre minimum, we would need permission, assuming that the POA is still active, or probably
Or if they would amend their border lines to
Yeah,
incorporate
right.
additional property.
the easier option here would probably be to
So,
try to get a letter of approval from the
For
POA.
less than
is this
2.5
dance, the dancing rabbit?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dance, there's property behind it.
Can you look at that?
Oh, Denver's.
Yeah, okay, that's very.
No,
It's all on
I
that.
think we've done the track split and realignment every year since I've been there.
So I think that's whenever we really heavily discussed the POA covenants and not being allowed, or weren't able to on another property. They were just wanting to buy a sliver of someone's property so they could get a bigger access for the backer to develop or something.
Something, yeah, it was
They
definitely.
wanted to use a
Some
driveway
of
for, yeah.
Yeah, and we weren't even allowed to do that. So that would need to be explored before we can really provide more input, I think.
So, and it's splitting it across the front side of Ozark Acres Drive, so you come up with two narrower parcels, which would be similar to the one that's adjacent to the west, however, it's over 2.5. Right.
I think it's right at 2.5. I believe.
Right at 2.5.
One is also that, well, the one is still below it, that's the 2.4.
This is
That's
2.5.
2.5, 2.51.
Yeah.
And what's the total on theirs?
That one's 2.3.
Emily's lot is a little over 4 acres, yeah. So we'd be shy just a little bit for the covenants. I think we still meet city code, just not
It's
covenant.
the covenant, I think that's the hurdle we gotta figure out is it still active? And if it is, then who's the POA and what's their process for that, like, explore that.
Maybe they have regular POA meetings out there.
If it's an active,
If
right,
it's-
they're required by law to have a meeting once a year anyway.
And that could be a very small board of people that just jump on a call.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be.
But they gotta say what it
Yeah.
is, they can't just do it secret, they have to announce it.
Right.
Emily, has anybody from a POA, Property Owners Association, ever contacted you about any annual meetings of the POA board? No annual fees, no
The
meetings.
one on the right-hand side, which is the east side, Susan Gray owns that parcel right next to her, that's my realtor. And also another one next to, and next door has a pool on it, that was, Ethan used to own it, my father used to own that one as well too. So he sold it like last year. Never had any kind of POAs.
Yeah, no no record of POA dues or anything.
So I may be wrong, I'm just talking on this. I think county records requires, or maybe the state, on a county POA, they have to renew every 10 years,
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then the POA can dissolve,
It's
then the
dissolved by
covenants,
statute.
yeah, then the covenants don't exist either.
Sometimes it's the opposite. You vote to dissolve it, and if the vote to dissolve it doesn't happen, it automatically renews. So I think it can go either way.
You might, yeah, I don't know. I think there's where that has to be explored.
The covenants.
Yes.
Okay. We'll do our homework on that.
Is they all showed up when we had
Yeah,
to do another thing?
they showed up.
They
They
showed
have
up in
records.
full force.
The Ozark Acres POA did.
Oh,
Yes.
You sent them.
On that access, and there was wanting to take, maybe it was this parcel, I can't remember,
That's parcel, I believe.
that was wanting to put an access to get to that back property.
It's been in the last, what, 2 years?
3
That
years.
was the easement, you know, that was when
Yeah.
the that they owned in the past. So he had an easement for me to get access to, because first at the beginning I was planning to do like
A development.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
us
I knew we'd seen it before.
I think the plan was that Andy wanted to maybe add that little strip to his Dancing Rabbit property, so it could all be one. And so at the end of the day, we just left it alone. The strip, the small strip of Ozark Acres, just stayed that, but there are several access easements across it. So I seem to remember
There was a little bit of
some
turmoil
pushback
there.
on that.
There was a lot. It was a lot.
I remember.
All right, so we think that the POA people are somewhat active.
We can probably look back at our files. They brought in documentation.
Okay.
Yeah, but you may have a file item, I should.
Yeah,
figure it out.
I feel like it was in the last 3 years.
Yeah,
It was.
It was. I remember that project.
Oh, it's been
Oh.
about 2 years.
Okay. So homework on that,
Yeah.
and then I guess kind of anything else on this project that you guys have questions on.
So is there an intent to, this may be, no. Is there an intent to combine this lot outside where you'd still need to amend something though, but you would be able to accomplish the above 2.5 acres if you combine?
Yes, Andy, who owns the Dancing Rabbit property, has indicated that he would be willing to adjust that common line between his land and Inwood's land to meet the minimum covenant 2.5 acres. Assuming the POA agreed to that.
Yeah, I would say you're still, that POA is going to.
So if you split the lot, you got the house, it's gonna fall, where the house that's currently there, it's gonna have a driveway that goes across, that driveway will be reconfigured.
So the intention here, the whole reason behind the split is Emily and her family currently live in the house. They would like to build a new house on the new western parcel, and then the intent is to list the eastern parcel for sale. That driveway that does currently bisect the property to go to the house. So what would probably be a good idea in this situation is to do some type of private access easement that, would serve for the time being. And then at the time when the eastern lot sells, I think they should be responsible for having their own driveway on their own lot, because nobody wants their neighbor driving right across the front of their house on that driveway. And so private easement, those are easy to do and easy to dissolve with the right paperwork and the right filing, as opposed to a public easement. So the driveway, if we had to do some kind of private easement to go across the western lot to access the house, to check any boxes, I think we could do that. But the intention is 2 lots, each lot to have their own driveway.
It's not a shared driveway in the center or something like that.
No, I don't think Emily wants a shared driveway with any potential buyers of the eastern lot.
where's the septic? The septic field's not gonna interfere with the lot split, right?
No, sir. It's behind the house, kind of
I think
more
I see
towards
it.
the southwesterly, behind the house back there. And it's, I think just ballparking probably 30 feet, 20, 30 feet off of the new property line.
I think on the print, it's when I zoom in, I can't read it. It's green, if it's in green.
Yeah, it's kind of it's hard to see on a computer screen, but it's that green box that's behind the house.
Okay.
There are other lots in this POA that I think have gone under 2.5 acres due to the taking of right of way by the highway department.
Yeah.
But I know that that's kind of different rules with the taking of right of way, and so I just thought I'd mention that.
I really think, I think you guys see it, I think it all hinges on what is this company or what governance,
Right.
and then whatever's figured out there.
Yeah,
But I don't think anybody sees a problem with the lots, the fundamentals of the lot split.
sure.
No.
It's
It
just-
wasn't in that.
Right. If they'll allow that, if they'll say, write you a letter and say, we'll
Okay.
allow you to do this and have these 2 lots that are less than 2.5 acres.
So this letter, let's assume that there is a president of the POA.
Right.
If this letter came from the president of the POA, would that suffice, or would it have to be one of the deals where every member?
What's their bylaws about?
Yeah, their bylaws
yeah.
probably require a vote
Gotcha.
of the,
That's the answer there.
I recall a handful were present last time. It wasn't just one person.
right, there were several, but
It was an active body.
I'm sure they're all getting the certified mails yesterday, today, tomorrow. Okay, so Emily and Andy, I think we have some homework to do to track down and see if the POA is active and who to contact on it to start the conversation on getting an approval letter.
Because on those other acres, pretty much like everybody's moving in, all the land got sold in the past 3-4 years.
Right.
Lots of new owners in this subdivision over the last couple of years for sure. I want to say when I started this project, I looked the original couple that owned all this property and started the POA. They no longer live here. I kind of researched some property owners and just wanted to see if the original POA creators live here. They're not around here anymore.
And also with the new highway 112, the view will be on the north side and cutting through right above, that those other people, they still change the highway.
Yeah, they took some right away up there, kind of on the north up there off the screen. So, I guess kind of big question here. What is our timeline to have some answers to you guys?
Well, it sounds like there's a public notice for public hearing went out. Is that right? Because of the variance request?
Correct. Yes.
So, we will hold a public hearing.
Okay.
Now, it might be tabled if we don't have the information.
Sure.
Right? So I think it kind of hinges on what you find and what you come back with.
Okay.
I mean, we'll have a public hearing. That will
So I think we have 2 weeks kind of to.
that
yeah.
might
do
be
some-
when you find out who's in the POA.
Well, I just find it a little odd that Emily's lived here for a couple of years, I think, and there's been no dues or no
That's
communication
interesting.
or
That's
anything,
very
so-
interesting.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Surprised. That happens.
Yeah.
It happens. I just know that they came in.
Usually, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say usual because nothing's usual anymore. Obviously, if you do a cash outright sale, it's not going to happen. But if you go through the lender, they're going to come back and they're going to say, hey, and they're going to collect the POA dues, whatever's on record at the time of closing. So it's interesting. I don't know when you bought this, I don't know how the transaction occurred, but if it was in that manner for the lender, they're going to collect it. So
I think Emily, you lived here since 2023 or 24?
24.
24, yeah, so she's lived.
Well, I know the property in the area is more than like 7, 8 years, you know, never paid anything.
And there may not be anything on the covenant, they may not have the dues, they just may have a set of covenants, that says here's what the rules are.
Yeah.
There wasn't any amenities there, so when this was drawn up,
Yeah, I think they just want to, prevent people from throwing tents up and
subdividing it more.
growing,
Yeah.
having livestock
Right,
and
they just
stuff.
wanted those
There's probably standards for what the house has to be, you know, size wise or.
Yeah.
I think there are some development standards in there.
Yeah.
I've glanced at the covenants. I haven't studied them, or I don't know that anybody's attorney has studied them. But I think we'll do some homework on that.
If you'll do that, that's really what we need before we can
Sure.
move forward.
Okay.
I think you can understand that.
Yes, sir. So we're good. We're on for the public hearing and the March Planning Commission meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
thank you. Yes.
Appreciate you. So we talked about the lot split, we talked about the variance of what that is basically in a roundabout way. So then we'll,
Dean, we may want to, we may want to make sure they, like the previous, know that it would be council, wouldn't it be council or is this?
No,
no.
So they don't
there's a
have to.
lot split and variance, the variance is
So
BZA.
they can do that after that.
Yeah.
There's no rezoning here, so
We may be able to find a copy of it, but.
I might even have it, I should have pulled out my Dixie Rabbit folder.
I have it.
I don't,
You
Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
It gets suspended, I'm trying to pull it up.
so it
Sure,
should,
we got
I mean, it
that.
should be recorded. Well,
Well, it talks about how it says 2.5 acres, and they wanted a variance for the.
Yeah.
But we can't just be overriding the POA.
No, that, well, we can't put them on a suit.
There we go.
You got that.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know, and maybe part of this is part of it. You recall, and it was, or what I recall, again, with the crossing things up on this one, there was some covenants that came out of a drawer, and then there was something else that was recorded, and there was a dispute amongst.
You're not wrong, there was,
Right,
but the one
which
that
was
was
current.
recorded was
That's what we got to
the
go.
one that prohibited the last of it.
Right,
Split.
yeah,
I recall they were an active body.
they were very local.
They may have since moved away and let it expire.
Well, some of those people have moved too.
Yeah.
So this was even talked about during that, because
They were
this
trying to
owner was
bring
talking
back
about
that property
splitting
behind.
off to create another area for a road, since that narrow road wouldn't work because
That's
of the-
exactly what we talked about.
And I think that this was, and so when that didn't work out, then this sold, and she said she's been there since 2024.
That's what she thought.
Yeah.
So if they split that one
Thanks,
off.
and go back into your
Yeah,
archives.
I definitely, yes.
Tell us what happened.
These are another 5 more years, so they have a 25-year from 2006.
Oh, so they're good to go. Those
To the day tomorrow, actually, February 26th, or February 18th, 2006.
And they have a 25-year.
Yes, and then after which period, it should automatically extend 10 years each unless signed by majority of the lots to vacate the covenant and or in part.
I knew they were an active body. I remember.
Yeah, they were very
I mean,
protective
enough
of
them
the size of
maybe
the
they could
lots.
get the whole POA to agree on it, but
Well, I foresee if they were to change the size of the lot, if that is the whole, case here. But if he's wanting to combine it to the property that's outside of the subdivision,
Oh, no.
then they're looking at a road.
They'd have to like make an exception for it to be okay for like to be a 2 acre lot or something. So, but how many people are gonna start splitting their lots? and do
Exactly.
that?
Yeah, no, they were very protective of that size
It
lot.
was, yes, it
They
was a
didn't
size of
want
the lot,
any
they did not want a
houses
road
on
going
lots,
through
no.
their neighborhood, they weren't releasing.
They were fighting the road with the covenant saying they're creating a lot that didn't meet the covenant standards. So this is gonna be a street access.
They didn't care,
Yes.
because part of it was. So,
There's been, yes,
I just-
many moving part questions surrounding
I
this
just
property.
put that one up there, I was like, it's familiar, okay.
Okay, so now,
And the topography in that area is gonna be
It
an
was
issue.
an issue, that's whenever you asked about that driveway, and I don't know about that particular space, but topography in the area in general
The
was
drainage
very
in that area
huge
is
concern last
an
night.
issue.
I think if they've been finding another around 250 since it's happened. So,
Yeah, and that, I drove by there today and there is a real drop off dip behind.
where they're wanting to find it and move that.
It's on the, so the house, so her house is on the easternmost lot?
Yeah,
no,
Okay.
it's right
it's on the east side of the lot,
east,
and then, well, they're splitting it.
So, wait, where the three are. There's
Do you
this,
see the contours? Can you see them there?
yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering, does it make whoever buys that do a new driveway?
Well,
so the house is on the easternmost,
That'll be a fun drive.
so.
well, it's like,
that
I
house
mean,
is-
if you want to do this, then, I don't know, you're developing property, you should be responsible for the driveway.
Easternmost of the three.
Probably why they made that lot.
With the
Like,
thing
they're
that's-
just
that's-
concerned about that house.
This is on the south side.
This street up with that.
So that's.
What is it?
I added the covenants to the work session, give it right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was in this house, it was hard to get, it gets down and comes back up to the housing behind it. And, I'm not sure,
I remember it was pretty intense, they couldn't find another lot.
yeah,
I know the, I know they're trying to get back to that property, and when they said combine it, you'd have to remove it from the POA, and the POA said absolutely not.
right now, they are very protective of their 2.5 acre lots.
We will just have to wait and see what they come back.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're at least after.
And that's in Chicago, it's in this back.
Done? Almost,
So on the site plan review. People commercial, property phase 3 and 4, 150, 162 Grading Lane. People partners. Okay. So this is along 112, off of that, right? Grading Lane, I'm familiar with. Currently a C2 commercial. Phase 3's got 12,000 square foot commercial buildings. Drives, parking, water, force main extension, space for includes 2 12,000 square foot, one 13,000 square foot building, and one 7,000 square foot, and one 18,000 square foot. So they didn't talk to us about this site plan review, please. You're
So
still
this
working
is-
on this with MCE, right? Sorry,
What did I say?
I said you're still working on this with MCE, right?
As of when this was created, the review came in end of last week and it got sent over to Aaron, I think.
We got it yesterday.
Okay, yeah. It came in late last week when we finally got the review back from Coral. It's essentially the full site plan build out for this property that we've done.
1 and 2 we've done,
Yeah,
right?
the 2 we've done. So, this, plan essentially encompasses the rest of it. We do have a representative here, to speak with any of the questions you have, but it's, 9 additional buildings on the back side of the existing 4.
Okay.
Evan McMahon with Craft and Toll. Just quick overview, same concept as phases 1 and 2 there, similar buildings, similar uses, just continuing to build out to the east there. I think all drainage was already covered by the Lomer that is just north of us, so it's all pretty straightforward. Don't have any issues with zoning compatibility. Yeah, all pretty straightforward. We, like David mentioned, didn't get comments back from McClelland until yesterday, so I haven't really dug into those a whole lot. I skimmed through it, didn't see anything that I had any concerns with, aside from a request for global stability analysis of the 3-to-1 slope that's coming off the property line to our east. I'm going to speak with the geotech. I'm not entirely sure that's necessary because it's not in fill. That's already been cut. I'm not adding any fill in the area. And there's just a little landscape wall there, but I can work that out with McClelland and the geotech for the project.
Do you plan to have a landscape plan?
Yeah, that wasn't included in the set. We were hoping to get at least one set of comments back and have a resubmittal before the work session, but so McClelland like over 5 weeks to get first set of comments, so we did not get that in there. And we also have a hydraulic analysis for the force main. It's done. We did not submit that with this for some reason. We want to run that through Jack Tyler, which is the manufacturer for that equipment, before we submit it to the city or McClelland. But that is done and pretty much ready to submit. So.
Any drainage issues?
No, most of it's draining similar to the current phases. It drains to valley gutters at the end of the drive aisles, and then just it all flows north into that basin. So we've got some storm inlets to pick stuff up where we need it, but most of it's good enough to just flow through the parking lot, just like the other phases do.
From the planning standpoint, I think, some of my comments agree with Fallon. We're looking for the landscape plan. We don't really have any building finishes or elevations as far as those yet, so.
No, I could probably get something from the developer. I'm sure it's the same exact thing as what's on the first 2 phases. So.
Well, the same exact thing as on the first 2 phases is not allowed anymore. We have building standards that we looked at. So, it's in the subdivision code. If you need us to send it to you, we can.
Okay, I can find it.
On the website, maybe just, whatever is easiest.
And know the architect needs to take a look at that. So. I think, was it 2 to 3 weeks to actual public, or the actual planning commission meeting? Something like that. So,
We need review time before.
Yeah, that's.
We won't be here again until April.
Right.
Look at it.
So, is that something where we could ask for a conditional approval, condition upon basically addressing all of McClelland's comments, or does that need to get tabled?
On the landscape side, I don't know.
Well, I haven't even got to discuss with McClellan their comments yet. So I don't know.
It's too early to say.
Yeah, it's really too early to
Yeah, when it's missing issues on the first submittal, it's hard.
because I agree. The lower and all the work that was done north of this, is my understanding, planned for this. So there shouldn't be any major issues there. The biggest things, from my standpoint, was the landscape and elevations. I had some questions about, I have some concerns about addressing, because he's already had issues and tried to create streets and roads in there, and wanted to name them, and, you know, he was concerned about how to address all the rest of these. It's like, well, these aren't streets, it's very clearly not a street, we're not naming a parking lot.
Right.
And so how that connectivity worked, even on the cul-de-sac. And just kind of internal work building, the number of dumpsters. I was looking at this, is there just 4 dumpsters shown for the 9 buildings?
Yes.
I know we've discussed in the.
We don't know what the future holds.
I agree.
It's hard for each building to not have.
Well, I think we had, on the previous developments, had issues about the dumpster street and stuff like that. But again, I don't want there to be a situation where we have a bunch of additional dumpsters out there being stuck on the property because without
Playing for it.
Yeah, because they weren't planned.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a matter of just either expanding the dumpster pads that we have, which I think would be the easiest. As much grade drop as there is to the east, it's hard to find space for that, but we could just widen what we have to allow for 2 bins or you know, whatever's necessary. That way there's space for screened expansion if they need that in the future. But I don't know what the right number of dumpsters is.
Yeah, just magically.
We don't want that.
That dumps into a city street, so it's like, where did this loading dock come from? It's like, oh, we had that. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yes. Not your problem.
No, I understand. Yeah, and 2 of these buildings have that same loading dock set up.
Yeah.
The 2
Showed up on the end.
north.
Yeah.
On the walk.
All right, so action items here, right? Because we've got communication between staff, traffic toll, MCE still has to.
I mean, I need to communicate and have a discussion with Adam and just go over the review. I normally go over these reviews, get, copies and things like that. Obviously, they just got it, and, they're gonna have to do their review. Unfortunately, it's gonna be a time crunch. But, the biggest things I think, we're gonna be looking for is gonna be the elevations, landscaping, and then just addressing, any of the other engineering comments. Which again, I don't think the storm, water, unless there's something internally as far as easements, need to be dedicated. I think we did that on some of the previous ones, and areas for water line improvements, that had to be, utility easements and things like that. But, we've done 2 sections of this. I think we have a pretty good understanding of what's going on out there, where we're going to line the water flow and things like that. And there was already significant work put into that, obviously, too. Along the floor.
Planning commissioners, other questions? This board? Or statements, comments?
Yeah, I'd say we did have the majority of these addressed before the meeting. We can have the landscape plan definitely done by then. I think that's on the schedule for completion next week. The sanitary report, that would have to go through the following again, which we're about ready to submit that, but I'm sure that'll take them some time to review.
After initial review, it should be 2 weeks.
Okay, is there a specific time frame that they're obligated to return comments by for the first or second submittal, I guess?
Second
5 weeks.
submittal. After the first of those 2 weeks.
Okay.
Is what we try to do.
Okay. I know that's not on you, but that's just, it's hard to get things addressed by the meeting if we get comments the day before the meeting. So
I think there was you ran into some holiday and some snow issues.
That's true.
What I would assume happened, honestly, as far as it taking longer than 3 to 4 weeks.
Gotcha.
Then you submitted the 1st of January. somewhere in there, first week or so.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12, that's right.
That was only 4 weeks ago.
Now we have first look at two pieces.
Some serious snow though.
Was there a question? I'm sorry.
No, I just said I'd split the whole packet so that it's not a first look right before you're trying to get an approval. I don't know how we'll get comments back from the phone in time to even really discuss.
So in that case, we would just get tabled to the next one, right?
Well, that's what I'm wondering on your schedule. Are you anticipating an approval in April? Are you targeting?
I mean, as soon as possible, but there's not a hard date that we're trying to hit, so I don't think that would totally
I
kill
mean,
us.
Adam will
But
be here for next meeting. I think it would behoove us to still have this on the agenda and still be able to come and discuss.
Yeah.
and talk about it. Whether or not it's ready, it may not be ready. I don't think we've had that site plan that's come to us that we've done in 1 month's time. Personally. And it's a large site plan,
Yeah,
it's 9
it is.
buildings, insurance is water. Granted, a lot of the stormwater stuff is already done, there shouldn't be a lot of additions, but.
I was just making sure I wasn't planning to be approved in April.
Yeah.
Since if you submitted in January, it's like so pushing.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been ideal, but I understand the bunch of other circumstances, so. Okay. All right, so I need landscape plan, obviously, revised elevations, and then address the comments that Brad said. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right, so David, that concludes everything that's on the agenda. Is there anything else you want to?
I actually have a quick question.
Oh, sure.
I found myself at a Mary Kay party at the American Legion, and so figured I wasn't in the right place for the planning commission. So I missed the first item. I'm the applicant for the first item, and I just want like a thumbs up or a thumbs down for my boss if that's going to be good for the next planning commission meeting in March.
This is for the lot split for the bond property?
The property line adjustment.
The property line,
yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So
We're
we
good
need
for
to
that?
have right away to the plans. I think that was.
That was the right of way for Farrar, but in terms of the lot split?
With we had the Farrar and we had the access easement.
Yes.
So Farrar Lane,
Uh-huh.
just a second, I'll take it, just a second, make this a little easier.
Gotcha. Sorry to keep you all.
No, you're fine.
Sorry, you have to be.
Did they have a good turnout for your?
I had a good book on my phone, I'm okay.
So Farrar Lane here,
Uh-huh.
this piece,
Yes.
the only real comment I had, and I think it may be on the plat, is just, it's kind of hard to see. We need to verify that there is 25 foot of right of way.
Okay, so just you want to like comment on there?
Well, it usually has a line,
Right.
hashes,
Right.
something to delineate it from, the other piece. But it's, a 25-foot section to be dedicated to this city of Cave Springs. There's usually some fairly typical language associated with that.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So we're good for that's March 7th or
Is that 6? What is that?
I think it's,
Second.
Okay. All right.
2 months.
Yeah.
Here, it's
Here.
Unless you got some Mary Kay.
They're like, you want to come in? I was like, this actually looks a lot more fun, but
Probably would offend you too.
yeah, it looks pretty nice. But okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Oh, she's leaving.
All right, so anything?
I don't have any additional ones. Y'all have any questions about any additional questions or anything like that?
The legacy project.
Oh, yes.
Could we share that information with the whole commission?
Talking about those.
I know
So-
they do, they have the information.
We want a grant for the legacy project board.
Parker.
Oh,
yeah.
So,
What's that? And,
well,
We're defining our legacy.
we'll start with, everyone,
So it's not-
I think we talked about it, we won Plan of the Year for the downtown master plan, we got that.
Oh, yes, okay.
The CNU Conference on Neuralism, which they sent a delegation from Northwest Arkansas to, last 2 out of 3 years, I don't know, 2 out of the last 3 years. It's usually in like large urban areas. I think the one I went to was Charlotte and Rhode Island, or Providence, Rhode Island. It's being hosted by Northwest Arkansas this year. It's May 12th to the 16th, I believe. We're just putting all this on my calendar today, so it's kind of not so fresh. They have, through this conference, legacy projects that are kind of design charrette. So there's going to be a lot of the same stuff going on next month that we did for the downtown master plan. But what we did was we partnered, we were looking at it like trying to come up with, like, is there something worth our while in doing this, correct? And then kind of got wind that Leaf was also looking at the watershed and said, hey, let's pool our resources. So we kind of looked at what Leaf did. He sent it over. Madison did a lot of work on the application that they had kind of already started. We were chosen as one of the 4, I think maybe legacy projects that were chosen. Elm Springs is one also. Juliet has been working on that with them. They contracted Juliet to help with like a downtown master plan for them since 112 has come through. So actually, it's for one of their planning commission members who is an engineer for ISG recently about it also. We are going to be hosting some charrettes in the next month in March.
You do here?
Yes, we're going to do here. There's going to be.
We'll send you all the information when we have.
Yeah. What?
They're making the flyers now.
Yes. So that's the thing is, at this point, that's the most we really know. We were really.
So what the project is though, what they're.
So that's what I'm
looking
trying to
do.
do. Yeah.
Our guys are still trying to figure that out.
Like I think the program elements are, still in the works.
Oh.
Can you turn it?
I can.
Yes.
They're done. I'll turn it again.
So